Y'all ain't heard nothing like this before. Beat him in the head with this trilogy. Who dropped this for a certain demographic? Turn it up, blast it. This is gonna be a classic. Facts. Not to run it.
What's going on, everybody?
Good evening, paisans and gomaras. Welcome to episode 14 of Gangsters and Cigars. It's going to be a great episode tonight. We're going to be talking about San Gennaro. If you grew up Italian in New York, then you attended San Gennaro, the feast. We're going to talk about the mob in San Gennaro. We're going to be talking about the Catholic Church in San Gennaro, the feast. And my sidekick, we're going to be talking about CLE Cigars. Shirtless Mike is going to tell us about his exploits over the weekend at the Tampa Cigar Festival in Ybor City, so we'll get into that as well. So how you doing, Mike?
I'm good, man. It was a lot of fun over the weekend. I wish you could have joined me.
I know, man. I missed it.
You know, I was hanging out with Robert Caldwell, on Friday night, and Melanie Cisco rode over from Tampa with me, and it was a lot of fun. There were a lot of money was raised for several different charities. I know Smoking Shields was one of them. A cigar club, a law enforcement cigar club. I'm sure you're familiar with.
I'm absolutely familiar with them.
It was a good time. Lots of people at the party, and Saturday I just kind of hung out because I was supposed to do like a scavenger hunt. Some people were supposed to find me, but a lot of people that were at the party, they didn't get home till like 4 or 5 in the morning. So the organizer just had scratched the scavenger hunt. If anybody finds you somewhere, then then he'll make sure they get something, because I forgot to get the.
Okay, call me crazy. Hold on a minute. Call me crazy.
Crazy.
Now, I seen pictures of you at the cigar festival, and you were walking around without a shirt.
Shirtless Mike.
So let me ask you a question. How fucking hard was it to find Shirtless Mike at the cigar festival?
Really not. But see, for the scavenger hunt though, I was at Corona in Tampa, and on Saturday I almost got, at night, somebody wanted to take a picture, and I walked inside when I was shirtless after I took a picture outside. I came this close to getting kicked out, but so I was wearing a shirt during the day, just at the actual festival on Sunday I was shirtless. So
did you wear a Gangsters and Cigars t-shirt?
I did, not during the festival, but I think the first day that I arrived, that's what I was wearing.
All right, you got to represent, brother. Don't leave us hanging, man.
Yeah, I mostly took shirtless pictures because everybody wanted to take a picture with the shirtless guy.
Oh no, I get it.
It was a lot of fun. I was hanging out with Nish Patel. He's a cool guy. I was hanging out with Steve Saka. I met Justo Roa, Christian Roa's brother, the guy who makes this cigar.
Right.
And that's when I almost got kicked out of Corona. I don't know if you know who Ira is.
I do.
Yeah, so Ira, he looked at me, he was like, you need to put your shirt on right now. And I mean, the man's a Marine, so, he's nobody to fuck with. So I said, yes, sir, and I just showed love and apologized.
You got to show love, man. You represent the industry, you represent where we are right now, Smoke Range, Merritt Island, Florida.
I didn't get to the level where I can just do whatever I want just yet, but I'm very close.
I got you. So I haven't seen Lou in a while. Is he back from his exploits?
Yeah, but he's in and out. He's in Stewart today because of his other business.
Gotcha.
Yeah, the roads were shut down yesterday going down south, so he had to go today.
Before we get kicked over, before we start about San Gennaro, first I want to say a great big thank you to our fan base who've been supporting us, who've been following us, giving us great feedback. Please, at the end of this episode, make sure that you like, make sure you subscribe. We're getting up on subscriptions.
Yeah.
Our viewers, the views are going up, which is fantastic. So we keep rolling along. We have a good time. Last week's episode was really cool. So next week, actually, episode 15 will be a second interview with Jay Weisinger from Key West. He was on our show before. We spoke about treasure hunting, spoke about some of his family's ties to the mob. I'll be down there seeing him next Friday, so we're going to do a interview with him while I'm down there. I'm going to be doing some business, going to be doing some partying with Jay. So next week, make sure you look for that episode. That's going to be great too. We're going to get into some new stuff. Jay's got some new stuff in the works. And so Jay gives me a call, which you'll like this. So some Hollywood people are coming to spend New Year's with him. They're talking about doing a show with him, putting it on TV. And they asked him, hey, we caught you on that podcast, Gangsters and Cigars.
Oh, wow.
Which was cool. So they said to Jay, so I guess the Italian guy is a straight up gangster from New York City. So Jay goes, no, he's a cop. And they're like, no, he was never a cop. So Jay's like, yeah, no, he worked organized crime out of Miami. He's a cop. So this guy wouldn't believe him. Make a long story short, he said the show was funny. He watched it. Now he's watching all our episodes. So
nice.
Who knows? I got an invite for New Year's Eve down there to meet these people. We'll see what happens.
Bobby is a straight up gangster, though.
I am, dude. I know. It's horrible. All right. Before we get into the episode on San Gennaro, and I talk about my family a lot and some of the dark side and stuff of the family. But I want to bring up a story. I'm not going to mention names, but an incident I was involved in and had to turn to the family. So I'm either 19, maybe just turned 20. Now I'm working in a small town, which is not a small city anymore, in Florida, right out of the academy. And turns out that it was one of the most corrupt cities in Florida in the day. This is where I start my career. There's a sandwich shop. In this sandwich shop, it's owned by two wise guys straight out of New York. And they make Italian subs and so on and so forth. So we used to go in there all the time on duty, get a sub and leave. But after hours, I was just a young cop. I was a nobody, just a road cop. So always see all this traffic at night, everybody coming out with subs and shit after the store was closed. So I knew something was going on. So I'm in there one day, and one of the wise guys said, Caruso, you got a big family name in New York. I said, yeah, I do. And he said, why don't you make some money on the side? Do some stuff for us. Close your eyes, and everything will be good. So I told him, I said, I need you to go fuck yourself. I said, I'm not about that. I said, I didn't become a cop to be about that. You need to go fuck yourself. So he goes, well, if you fuck with us, there's going to be consequences. I said, really? He said, yeah. I said, okay. He's in bed with, and I won't even mention, fuck him. He's in bed with the president of a bank called Halifax Bank, which is no longer. And it was dirty as dirty can be. Bank president goes to prison. I'm working one night at the high school for a high school wrestling match. All right? The Florida pro wrestlers, I'm not talking about the kids right now. Yeah. But I'm working off duty to make money so my first year as a cop, I made $9,938 was my year's salary, right? So trying to make ends meet, working an off-duty job. These guys pull up on these Harleys. I don't know the kids who pull up on the Harleys then turned out to be this bank president's sons. Get off the bike. One of the kids pulled a knife. Make a long story short, I was on the news the next day. I hospitalized both of them. Okay? Put them in the hospital. That was it. I ended up having to answer for some of that because one of the captains on the police department, another paisan, was in bed with these people.
Yeah.
All right? Unbeknownst to me when I came down here. Remember, I was playing ball in Tampa when I came over. I didn't know these fucking people. So they stopped me over at the sandwich shop. I'm over next door at the little convenience store. And this one wise guy comes out and goes, "You fucking with the wrong people." So, okay. I told him, bring it on. I can give two fucks who you are, what you're about. So go home. Pick up the phone. "Hey, Dad." I said, "You know this name?" My father goes, "Well, let me see. What's the problem?" I said, "Nothing. I'll take care of it on my own, but I need you to find out who these people are for me." My father goes, "Now remember, my dad's off the boat from Sicily."
Yeah.
Dad goes, "I didn't ask you if you could fucking take care of it or not. Tell me who they are. Tell them the name." All right? That's it. That's all I do. Next day, they're closing the sandwich shop. Pull up in the patrol car, and I just got this shit-eating grin on my fucking face. So he comes outside and he goes, "I didn't realize you knew people." "I don't fucking know anybody. I don't know what you're talking about." He goes, "Did you make a phone call to New York?" So I called my father. He goes, "Yeah, well, your father knows the right people. I got to leave here." I said, "Well, what I was told was you were thrown out of New York, and if they found you back in New York, they were going to kill you." Fuck you, fuck you. Close the shop, and they up and leave. That's my first intro to this whole corrupt fucking area. And they cleaned out that whole fucking area. I was there maybe a year and ended up leaving the department. They picked me up on a task force in a large agency. So you never know who's connected to who. And I'm not saying my father maybe knew people or didn't know people, but I can tell you that my dad stepped in and took care of the problem. Now, my dad used to live, he grew up pretty much in Queens, but in an area that people really not familiar with. So my dad's from Ravenswood. And that was like, from what I understand, it was Gangster Central. But this is where he was raised. So these people, whoever he may have reached out to or didn't reach out to, guys that my dad came up with, played cards with, and did all this rest of the shit. Why did I tell this story? Because as far back as I can remember, as far back as that I can walk, my dad used to take me to San Gennaro, the Feast of San Gennaro, right? In Little Italy, which is kind of even smaller now than it was in the day. Fashion district is moving in Little Italy and everything else. So I've got fond memories of San Gennaro. All I wanted to do was walk around, get a bag of Zeppelis, a cannoli. I was good for the day. So before I get into the gangsters of San Gennaro, just a little history of me growing up and going to San Gennaro. So I have on, not my fedora tonight, but what we call my gobeline, right? Even has the pin on the side, which is the Order of the Sons of Italy pin. So I remember as a kid, all these old timers, they wore chino pants, wife beaters or a white t-shirt, and a flat-billed gobeline, and a scarf. And these are the guys that used to carry the statue. I had the honor of carrying the statue when I became a teenager, which was cool.
Oh, yeah.
But you used to see all of these Lincolns, caddies, and limousines used to come up. They used to escort the wise guys out, and they used to put all money on the statue, right? And the money went to the Catholic Church or the diocese thereof. So as we all know, as a mobster, you can kill 14 people on a Friday. You can give money in the basket on a Sunday, and name it Padre Santo, Espiritu Santos, and it was good. You're good, right? Yeah. You go back to killing more people during the week. So they all would come out, they'd line up, they'd put money on, they'd do the sign of the cross, get back in the car, and they'd leave. My dad used to take me in these basements of the churches. Now, in the basements of the churches, you had your priests that were annihilated. But everybody was running card games, man. And I'm not talking nickel dime card games. And these priests would run the illegal card games. Some of the money went in the priest's pocket. Some of the money went to the diocese. And then naturally, everybody else had to have a taste.
Yeah.
When, you hear that the priests take an oath of poverty, right? And they're taken care of by the church. I don't know, man, because the priests I knew growing up all drove badass brand new caddies and Lincolns. They were gifts, though, right? Gifts to the priest. All right. That's me growing up and going to San Gennaro. Now let's talk about the mob. For years and years and years, the mob ran San Gennaro, primarily the Genovese crime family. So if you had a booth, if you were selling T-shirts or cannolis or zeppelis or sausage and peppers or whatever the fungal you were selling, you'd have to give a taste.
Yep.
So Genovese boys from that area would go through and you'd pay them. Now, San Gennaro initially set up to make money for the diocese, right, for the Catholic Church. But before any money went to the Catholic Church, it went to the Genovese and the families before them. FBI decides they're going to do this big investigation on San Gennaro, which is famous. I mean, they have San Gennaro feasts all over the world. Italy, different parts of, Chicago, Minneapolis, all over the place. Not just New York, even though everybody, when you mention San Gennaro, is like, oh, they feast in Little Italy. Well, yeah, it's not only there. Not as big as it used to be. More commercialized now. More about selling T-shirts and whatever the case may be. So Little Italy on Mulberry Street, right? Mulberry Street in the heart of Little Italy where the feast is. So it runs all of Mulberry Street. You got your businesses, your old businesses. My favorite bakery in the whole wide world, Ferrara's, which is still there. Famous Italian bakery. And then your mom and pop places and so on and so forth. Mulberry Street bleeds into Chinatown. So in the day, the Genovese family ran Chinatown as well. Coming up, though, the Chinese and the organized crime within Chinatown said, "Hey, we're not playing this anymore. We have our own rackets." Chinese were more into the gambling than the Italians were, so it ended up sharing a little bit of Little Italy, which again is primarily almost gone. So Giuliani was what said, look, you know what? We're going to do this big crackdown on the Mafia. And it all centered around the San Gennaro feast. And the FBI put this task force together. So they go after the family, go after the Genovese family. They end up getting indictments right after the feast. So there's indictments for murder, indictments for strong arm robbery, extortion. So they get the crew that ran Mulberry Street all under indictment. And as we all know, when you become a made man, one of the parts of being made is, they call it immorta, which means death, where that if you opened up your mouth against the family, or if you spoke out against the family, or if you ratted on the family, it was immediate death. We all know that that's bullshit because, like we spoke about, and you can go on to Sammy the Bull's podcast because The guy has over 45 documented hits, okay, and confessed to them.
Yeah.
Federal government didn't give a fuck if he killed a small village because they wanted Gotti. So Sammy rolls on Gotti. So they give him a wave of 49 confirmed murders. Give him a wave, like it didn't friggin' happen, just to go to Gotti. Now the asshole ends up going to prison with his son for dealing dope afterwards, and now he's a celebrity, which, you know. Anyway, so Genovese was always a stronghold in Manhattan for a long time. You go back to the 60s in Mulberry Street when wise guys were killing wise guys for power and territory like crazy. But Giuliani was instrumental in going after the mafia. Now, we talk about San Gennaro and presidents. Interesting fact. So John F. Kennedy was in bed with Sinatra, who came up because of help from the mafia. So if you see the Godfather movie and they portray somebody like Sinatra and he goes to the Godfather, and that's not untrue.
Yeah.
Okay.
A
So
lot of that movie is actually true.
it is, to an extent. So Kennedy was big with the Italians, and rumor has it that he may have attended San Gennaro a time or two with the boys. So what's interesting about that is Kennedy always said the mafia didn't exist, that it was a falsehood. The reason why John F. Kennedy said that is because his old man was a rum runner in the day during Prohibition. His own man was so tight with organized crime that they went to all of the unions. The unions got Kennedy elected, John Kennedy elected. So he came out and said, they don't exist. This is bullshit. The name doesn't even exist. Now, his brother was a different story because his brother actually went when he was attorney general and went after them with, double barrels. You got to think what the hell the rumor is, if the Italians had anything to do, the mob had anything to do with his brother getting killed because he went after the mafia. Joe, the old man, did say to him, you need to shut your mouth, but we're not going to know. All right? We won't know. But anyway. So San Gennaro, when I talk about the Feast of San Gennaro, and now all of a sudden I'm talking about presidents and talking about different links. So from a cannoli stand or a sausage and pepper stand, and San Gennaro brings in millions of dollars every year. A feast brings in millions. And you know, when any type of money is brought into a city or a community or an area, somebody's going to have their hand. Dirty politicians. It doesn't have to be the Italians in organized crime, but whatever organized crime. Somebody's having their hand in something. Somebody's making money. If you're making money, I got to put my hand in your pocket. Or the old expression was, I got to wet my beak. I just want to taste. You know, I don't want all the money in your pocket, Mike.
Exactly.
I just want a taste of what you got in your pocket, because if you're making money, you got to share it with me. So the extortion that went on with these vendors, so you got to remember, most of these vendors were mom and pop vendors. They'd set up a dam, and they were spending a lot of money to set up a stand as it is. So now I'm shelling out money to set up a stand. I'm going to make money. But before I sell my first friggin' cannoli or Zeppeli sausage and pepper sandwich or struffola or whatever the hell I'm selling, before I even sell it, you're going to pay me. So I'm going to go in, and you're going to pay tribute to the Genovese family, and you're going to pay me. So the mob, after all of these arrests, it got pretty quiet for a couple of San Gennaros. It was quiet. Gotti changed that. Gotti came back. Gotti was out of Howard Beach. It was really easy just to put his crew over there. You know, you had crews over in Jersey that would come over, but they take care of Jersey. New York took care of New York. You know, there was turf battles over that too. So San Gennaro was not only pivotal for Italians because, you know, it's a feast for the saint. Not only is it pivotal because it's a feast to make money for the Catholic Church, but it's absolutely 100%, don't get it twisted, pivotal to make money for the mob.
Yeah.
So the year, let me make sure I got my year right. Just want to make sure I got my year. So most of those arrests came out, and it's really not far, was 2012. But it had been years of doing investigations, been years of, for my FBI buddies out there, and I've worked with a lot of you, and I've been on many task force. I'll be 98 years old before the FBI, when they started investigation, end up ending the investigation. So, no disrespect. I love each and every one of you. The wheels turn slowly. You know, I get it why it turns slowly sometimes, and you go into red tape when you do an investigation and indictments, and you got to wait. You know, indictments are sealed, indictments are unsealed, and it's absolutely a process. You ever been to San Gennaro?
No, I haven't, man. I grew up here in Florida, even though I'm Irish and Italian. I grew up here in Florida, so I just didn't get that opportunity to get that authentic San Gennaro feast.
So now you had, one second. Yeah, you know, you only vendors, you know, they weren't only Italian, even though the feast was Italian.
Oh yeah, but I'm just saying, just because where I grew up in this area, we don't have
No.
San Gennaro here.
I understand that. No, I'm going to bring up a point. So you had other vendors, like from the Jewish community, Knish stands, which I absolutely love. You know what a Knish is?
No.
So it's like if you, let me see, if you had mashed potatoes and you, in a square, in a batter, and you deep fried them, and you eat them with mustard, and it has onions in them, and it's fucking amazing. All right? I love potato knishes. So they'd have stands as well in San Gennaro, because as long as you had money in your pocket, you can open up whatever stand you wanted on it.
Yeah.
In the Jewish community, the vendors didn't believe that the mob still ran San Gennaro in a day. Even though the Jewish mob, Diamond District, who they run nothing but the Diamond District. And if you don't think they're some badass son of a bitches, you're mistaken.
Oh yeah.
And the Jews and the Italians have always been, if you look back, you know, Meyer Lansky, come on.
Yep.
Talk about the most famous genius of gangsters. And the reason why Meyer was never touched is because if he was bringing all that money into the family, nobody gonna fuck with him. And not gonna let anything happen to him. The guy was, first off, he was a genius. Lansky goes, wow, Vegas is nothing but a big, huge desert, and they ain't shit here. But we could turn this into a Mecca. And he did. He absolutely did. I digress into the Lansky thing. I guess what I was trying to say about the Jewish community, Italian community, when it came to organized crime, ran hand to hand. But the Jewish community and the vendors didn't believe that they had a tribute to the Genovese family. And we all know what that turned into. Kind of hard to make knishes when you got both arms in a sling.
Yeah.
You know? So, TV series like The Sopranos made Mulberry Street famous again. Actually, so this is interesting because it has to do with San Gennaro. And again, I know I'm jumping around, but, I try to remember as much as I can. Joe Bonanno, he decides he's going to start an organization and talk out against when The Godfather came out. And says, oh, you're showing and portraying the Italians in a bad light, and so on and so forth. He starts this organization. Joey B ends up getting whacked anyway. But it's funny when organizations try to, and he was huge during San Gennaro.
Oh.
Bonanno was fucking huge during San Gennaro. But they've always tried to, how can I divert attention off of what we're doing? Thus the organization, I can't remember the Italian, American.
Defamation.
No, it was something. No, you're thinking of the Jewish Defamation League that I did a case with, but we'll talk about that on another episode when I talk about investigating the KKK and some other stuff. But we'll talk about all of that in another episode. That's the Anti-Defamation League. They're huge. Do great things. So just some names, like I said, Joey Bananas and stuff. And just to bring to light, I've had no negative memories of San Gennaro. It was my favorite time of year because I got to hang out with the old man. I didn't go fuck where he took me. I got to hang out with the old man. So the old man never used to come, which was interesting. Old man never used to come and watch me play ball. So I played soccer my whole life.
Yeah.
Played ball in Tampa. Never came and watched me play ball. When I started fighting really young, he used to go to all my fights. I guess he didn't like soccer, which was weird coming from Sicily, but he'd rather watch me fight. But just the memories of going and hanging out, and I'd get a little. It was like a brandy glass, little brandy glasses.
Yeah.
So when I'd go down and my dad would be playing cards and stuff, and I'd be hanging out in the corner, I'd get a little brandy glass of wine, and I mean you're talking from the age of 10 up, because we had wine at every meal growing up as a kid. But the kids only got this little. You thought you were the shit. I got to drink wine or whatever. But I remember the card games, and I just, my dad used to give me money. So he used to give me a handful of money, and I'd go up and I'd put the money on the statue, and I thought, I thought I was the shit. So getting back to the family type deal. It was just the dynamics now, because as I got older and I knew what was going on, and I knew the faces, and I knew the people, and I knew the people that my dad used to associate with, and the respect that they got and the respect that my dad got. It was always interesting. Now, my brother was a cop. I'm talking about the immediate family. Brother was a cop. I was a cop. My brother's son, who Tony.
Yeah.
Tony's a cop. And so on and so forth. So it's just kind of interesting on the path that we took. And never heard nothing negative from anybody going back home or anything. I think because my dad wouldn't allow it,
Yeah.
So I was going through it. My mom passed 2 years ago. My dad had passed her, but he passed in 98. And I'm going through just boxes and boxes of old pictures, and I come across, and I wish I would have brought them. Me dressed up with the little white T-shirt, the chinos, the gobeline, and the scarf. My dad used to dress me up like that every feast, you know? So I ran across some of them pictures, and it brought back like a flood of different friggin' memories for me there. So San Gennaro, which is near and dear to my heart, just wanted to go down memory lane a little bit about that, about my memories, and then to throw in, because we are gangsters and cigars.
Exactly.
And I wanted to throw in the whole gangster and the mafias. I need a taste of everybody's vendor money, and that the money, 5% went back to the church, by the way. So of all the money collected for San Gennaro, 5% of it only went to the church. It's talking whatever, a couple mil they brought in for San Gennaro, and only 5% of it, even though 5% is a nice taste.
Yeah.
For a religious event, 5% went back. All right, so let's talk about, I'm going to hand it over to you. Let's talk about what we're smoking. I'm going to light mine back up. Tell our fans.
Yeah, so this is the CLE Corojo, which I'm going to get some notes on it. So, it's a Nicaraguan cigar. I'll pull up information about it. So it's available in 4 different vitolas, which we carry just a couple of them for this. So this is just from the CLE website. So it's a bold and a highly flavored attention grabber. CLE Corojo features a full body profile and abundance of intricate nuances. CLE could easily be deemed a classic Corojo with zesty notes of earth, black pepper, oat, and roasted coffee, all of which accompanied by a long and smooth finish. So I don't know why it doesn't have, but anyway, it's Corojo wrapper, Nicaraguan binder and filler, to my knowledge, and I'm getting a lot of those flavors off of it. Like the black pepper. At first, I was getting more of like a cedar, like a wood flavor with creaminess to it, and it's a good cigar. Like I don't smoke it enough. Probably because I mostly go to cigars that have cellophane on them, because I travel a lot with cigars.
Right.
So I need to start smoking this more, because I'm getting like lots of good flavors. And it says it's full body, but to me it's not full body.
I think it's mild to medium.
Yeah.
It's funny that you mentioned it. I was going to say it before you did, but I can taste that chicory. That chicory coffee flavor, that's what I taste. I taste, I doubt this chicory.
I didn't get all of the
but that's what I'm
listed,
getting.
But I got quite a few of them.
Getting that, I'm getting leather, notes of leather, a lot of earth tones. See, now, I'm not getting pepper on the palate.
I get just a little bit.
But that chicory taste,
it's like a black pepper, but it's like in the background.
I'm not getting it. Well, then again, everybody has a different palate, but I am tasting a chicory flavor. So like the coffees in New Orleans, and like the coffee that Cafe Du Monde is famous for, has chicory in it. And Jesus, man, I'm tasting it like in abundance. I like it though, because I like it.
Yeah. I'm really enjoying this. I smoked one earlier, the last hour of work, and just so I can, I already have my palate ready to partake and everything. So it's definitely a good cigar. We sell it here at Smoke Green 72, 925 North Courtney Parkway in Merritt Island, Florida. I'm here all the time, so just come look for me. You see this beautiful face, come see me, and I'll point you in the right direction, of the CLE stuff. It tends to be slept on for whatever reason, but there's no reason to sleep on this cigar. It's really good.
All right, so remember, next Wednesday, we're not going to be on. We're going to put it in the can on Thursday when I'm with Jay Weisinger down in Key West, doing a new episode, talking about the great things that Jay has coming up. And I think I'm going, so the Schooner Bar in Key West, There's an older woman, and her husband used to be out there, and her son. And they have a little stand at the bar. One of my favorite places to go and chill. And they hand roll. They're from Cuba. And they've been hand rolling for years and years. And she owns this stand. I'm going to run and see if I can grab a hand roll before we do the interview. So I'll smoke a hand roll from down there from her. And then whatever you smoke up here, and we'll do takes on both cigars.
That sounds good to me.
All right.
Something different.
All right.
Switch it up a little bit.
Jay, get ready, brother. I'm coming down. I'll see you on the 15th. We're meeting for breakfast at Pepe's. Great restaurant, by the way. Incredible steaks at Pepe's. I'll see you for breakfast, bro. On that note, thanks to all our fans, our friends, our family. Please hit us on likes. Please leave comments. It means a lot to Mike and I if you guys give us a comment. Show us some love. We love you back. This is why we do this. We do this because we love it. We love the cigar industry. I love to tell stories, as you can tell. Have a great night. Stay blessed. Be careful. 'Tis the season. Every asshole in the world is out there. Every asshole's running games. Keep your head on a swivel, guys. Watch your ladies. Don't let them go Christmas shopping without you. I won't steer you wrong. And remember, let me end it as the way I ended every episode. You could be either seated at the table or Mike, you could be on the menu.
Be on the menu, baby.
God bless. Peace out.
Ready.